And I can see you're as excited about this as I am. Actually, I like this. This, again, is not intuitive, which means what? It means it isn't always the way that you think right off the bat. Sometimes in math, you've got to sit back and look at stuff and go, is that true? And here's the example I use all the time. Since it was just the end of the marketing period, let's say you had all the way up until Thursday's test, you had a 90%. Well, on Thursday's test, you did not do very well, and you got a 60%. For you to figure out what your grade for the quarter is, because that's the last grade of the quarter, if you find the average of those two, a 90 plus a 60 is 150, and divide by 2, you get a 75%. So you went from a B all the way to a C minus just with this one relatively poor test. Now, why is that not true? Because that is not even close to what you get. Your last test isn't going, unless maybe your Miss Shuman, each test is worth like, what is it, 50 points? What are it? Don't you have like tests worth like 10 grades?
3 homework.
Yeah. I mean, that might do it. But my tests, the tests I give are worth only 4 grades. I mean, you take a lot of quizzes and all that, and we have another test out there. Why, Brooke College, is that not right? And just 2. And just 2. Yes, Maggie? Well, the deal with it is, and I think you understand this, is that, you know, you probably have 20 grades here that averaged a 90. That's like having 20 90s. This is like only having 4 60s. Okay? And you, when you put them together and divide it by 2, you put them like they each mean the same thing. And they don't. Like you only had 2 grades. You know, if you establish a 90, you know, even if you had 100% and you failed that last test, would you get an 80? No. I mean, you have to. You cannot. And here's the whole point. Let me erase all this. How about this? Okay, you cannot take averages of averages. Because to find real average, it's got to be the total over the total. Again, meaning very little to you. But let's actually do that. The one thing we did. Let's say, like I said, you had 20 grades before that final test, and you averaged a 90%. And then you had 4 grades with the test that averaged 60%. In order to find that actual true average, you have to add up 20 of these, because you have 20 grades that average 90, and to that add 4 of those, and then divide it by how many total grades were there? 20 plus 4. Total number of grades is 24. Total percentages would be what? 20 times 90 is 1,800. Add another 240 to that, you get 2,040. And then you obviously would say, look, Mr. Hahn, here's a great time to use my calculator that I get a chance to use. I'll do it because I don't feel like spending that much time. What is 2,040 divided by 24? Okay, your actual grade. Hello. Any idea about the X? Your actual grade would be an 85, not a 75. 85%, not a 75%. And I can tell you, okay, so here we go. Let me give you another one. Sam had a 4-game average of 87. Sam had a 4-game, well, this goes to bowling almost. We could have done that with bowling. Average of 87. Then it says, what does he need in his next 2 games to have a 6-game average of 90? What does he need in the next 2 games to average, what does it mean? To average a 90? Again, you have to think in terms of totals. How many total games is this person bowling? Or if it's bowling or whatever. 6 total games, right? And he wants to have an average of 90, so that means he needs enough pins to have 6 90s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In order to have a 6-game average of 90, you need to have 6 90s there, which would be how many total pins? 6 times 90 is 540. How many pins did they get in the first 4 games? Well, 87 times 4 is 28, 232, 34. So he has 348, he needs 540. So in the next 2 games, I will do the math here. A 192. That's in 2 games. So it wouldn't matter how you split it. Maybe you got 100 and a 92. Maybe you got, if you're doing it didn't ask you what. It just needs how many in the next 2 games you need 192. Which makes sense, correct? Because if you've already bowled 87s and you need to get it up to a 90, you're going to have to go above 90 to get that to pull that up. Does that make sense to anybody? Just nod or fall asleep or do something. Let me shoot you another one here. Wait, I know there's one here that most people don't get. Here's another one. The 120-mile trip to San Diego. The 120-mile trip to Santiago. Is that close to where you were, Stritzel? San Diego, California? Is that by Salsa Verde Mountain? Where were you at?
Palos Verdes.
Wait, that wasn't it. There was something else. There was a 3-name word.
Ranchos Palos Verdes.
Ranchos Palos Verdes. Was that close to San Diego?
I don't think so.
Took 3 hours. And then it says, on the return trip, traffic was lighter. On the return, did you have a lot of traffic there, Spritzel?
No. Actually, on the way back, yeah.
See? This book knows what's going on. The return trip traffic was lighter, although yours was opposite of that, and it only took 2 hours. Only took 2 hours. The question is, find the average speed for each trip and for the round trip. Average speed for each trip and then for the round trip. Well, that's pretty simple. On the way there, 120 miles in 3 hours. What was the speed? Look at you, 40 miles per hour. On the way back, they did that same 120 miles. How do I know that? How do I know it was 120 miles? Well, here's a question to ask yourself. Noah Clausing, cross, if I'm driving from cross to your house, about how many miles is that? Just take a guess. 13. How many miles would it be from your house to cross then? 13. So, if you're doing the same trip, you're going the same miles. So this time it was 120 miles in 2 hours. How fast are we going? 60 miles per hour. 60 miles per hour. Now, the last one is the round trip. So the question I have for you, if you went 40 miles per hour there and 60 miles per hour back, that's the average speed going, extra speed coming. What's the average speed of the whole thing? You would want to say that it is 50. And I'm going to tell you that's intuitive and that's wrong. Because in order to do this, you need to find total miles. How far totally did he go? 120 there, 120 back, that's 240 miles. How long did the whole trip take? 3 hours plus 2 hours is 5 hours. Is this going to give me 50 miles per hour? It is not. I take 240 divided by 5. I'm going to get 48 miles per hour, correct? That is the part that most people get wrong. You cannot take averages of averages. Well, there's certain times you can when everything is equal, but most times not. And I would get into a habit to do it. Because 48 miles per hour is the trip there. Do you see what I'm trying to tell you? Do you read what I'm laying down? Or what's that thing? Are you picking up what I'm laying down? Should we do one more, or you just want me to bore you some more? That was rated, by the way. Miles per hour was rated. It's all kind of the same. Averages, rates. Let me see what else. Oh, look, it was 88. So what do we have to average? I'm looking if there's a good one here. Here, one more. Again, Bob bought. Any of you guys in the stock market? Like what does that say? Bob bought. Bob bought 200 shares at $54 a share. Then, later, Bob bought 100 more shares. Later, 100 more shares at $60 a share. What was the average price per share of all the stocks? And I'm going to tell you, most people want to go, oh, I'll just take $54 and add 60 to it, divide by 2, and that's my average price. That is not true. It would be true if you bought 100 of each, then you could do that, but you bought twice as many stocks at this rate as you did at this rate, so that changes the balance. So, how many total shares did they buy? He buy 300. And how much total money did he spend? 200 times 54. Somebody in your head? Plus another what? 6,000. Wait, is that right? Yeah. Looks like total amount spent was 16,800. I'll do it down here. And then divide that by 300. Calculator? I should know. I'm not going to get lazy. I'm just going to do it. Boom. Cross off the zeros. 3 goes into 16. $56. A share. First date, what would you get if you average these two? What's halfway between 54 and 60? 57, thank you very much. Yes, that's the look I like. Kale, what do you think? On a scale of 1 to 10. less than 105.
Like, how fun, what am I reading?
Based on all other lessons combined.
Like how easy it was?
Just how exciting.